Good morning, everyone. My apologies for being not starting immediately on time, but it's good to see everybody. I see the folks from DEMPED. Darren, it's good to see you too.
Thank you, sir.
I saw Kimberly earlier and Mr. Waller. We're going to begin in just a moment. Staff's going to give me a countdown and we'll be ready to go.
And we'll begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Good morning. I am Kenyon McDuffie, council member for Ward 5 and chair of the council's Committee on Business and Economic Development. Today is Wednesday, November 10th, 2021, and we're convening this roundtable virtually via Zoom. The time is 9:12 a.m. and I'm calling to order this public roundtable. Today, the committee will consider the following measures: PR 24-444, the Friendship Public Charter School, Inc. Revenue Bonds Project Approval Resolution of 2021, PR 24-445, the DC Preparatory Academy Revenue Bonds Project Approval Resolution of 2021, PR 24-446, the WHC Huntwood Quartz Apartments LLC, WHC Huntwood LLC Revenue Bonds Project Approval Resolution of 2021. And just as a reminder to witnesses, we're going to be testifying. They're going to have 5 minutes to provide oral testimony. And if you are not testifying, please be reminded to mute your microphones. Proposed Resolution 24-444, the Friendship Public Charter School, Inc. Revenue Bonds Project Approval Resolution of 2021 was introduced on October 25th, 2021 by Chairman Mendelson to the press of the mayor and referred to the committee on November 2nd, 2021. If approved, this measure would approve the issuance of up to $20 million in District of Columbia revenue bonds to assist Friendship Public Charter School, Inc. with costs associated with the renovation of its Lamont campus in Northeast DC, the installation of an elevator system at its Blow Pierce campus in Northeast DC, and the capital improvements and educational supports of several of its other campuses across the District of Columbia. Established in 1998, Friendship Public Charter School is one of the largest public charter schools in Washington, D.C., as it operates 15 charter campuses on 9 sites that serve approximately 4,500 students in grades pre-K through 12. With that, I'm going to call the witnesses who are going to be testifying on this measure. And just again, to remind folks to mute their microphones when they're not speaking. And let me grab the witness list. All right. I think we got 2 witnesses for this first measure, who are Mr. Waller and Gregory. Well, we're going to have you go, Mr. Waller. Is Mr. Glenn, are you also testifying on behalf of Friendship?
I will let Mr. Waller testify, sir.
Okay. You can begin your testimony whenever you're ready, Mr. Waller. Thank you.
Good morning, Business and Economic Development Chairperson McDuffie. I am pleased to be here on behalf of Friendship Public Charter School to testify about our request for financing for as much as $20 million. First, thank you for your approval of prior several bond issuances that have helped fund the improvement, acquisition, and furnishing of Friendship sites across wards 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The prior bond issuances totaling over $100 million allow Friendship to open and renovate 9 sites in the district at interest rates that we could afford without compromising services to our students. Second, we are here today to seek financing not to exceed $20 million. The proceeds from these bonds will be used for new money to reimburse funds used to purchase the current Friendship Ideal Annex, which is formerly the Lamont campus of the Hope Community Public Charter School, located at 6200 Kansas Avenue Northeast. Reimburse and fund complete and remaining improvements and furnishings at the Ideal Annex. Fund the installation of an elevator at our Friendship Blow Pierce campus, located at 725 19th Street Northeast. Fund capital improvements across all Friendship campuses to continue our strategy of providing high quality, safe, and healthy environments. And finally, fund certain reserves and other costs related to the issuance of the bond. As you know, the DC metropolitan region has experienced fundamental changes in our economy. Fast-growing companies have created jobs and opportunities at unprecedented rates. Friendship schools are important to the District of of Columbia for helping to ensure young people are prepared for these opportunities. Friendship operates 15 campuses on 10 school sites. On average, 60% of the students on these 15 campuses are deemed at risk due to family poverty, homelessness, being in foster care system, or overaged in high school. Across our elementary, middle, and high school campuses, Southeast, Below Pierce, Chamberlain, Woodridge, as well as Tech Prep High, were ranked Tier 1 by the DC Public Charter School Board. Moreover, several campuses, including Southeast Elementary, were recognized as a bold performance school. Tech Prep's high school campus serves the third highest population of at-risk students among charter schools in the District of Columbia, and yet had the highest 2019 Park ELA performance among all charter schools, serving more than 60% of students deemed at risk. And this year, we celebrated Dominique Foster, Friendship Below Pierce amazing pre-kindergarten teacher, who is now DC's 2022 Teacher of the Year. We are extremely proud of Ms. Foster. Despite the label at risk, our students are thriving. Collegiate Academy students continue to earn over $1 million in scholarships to college each year, including the prestigious Posse Scholarship. They graduate from high school on time and enroll in college at rates exceeding the city average. Tech Prep students garnered countless college acceptances that included distinguished schools like Morehouse College, Yale University, and also scholarships and competitive academic awards. Your approval of this transaction at this time will allow Friendship to take advantage of extremely favorable market conditions and help us funnel resources back into direct services for students. Moreover, your approval allows Friendship to serve an increasing demand for enrollment at our ideal campus. This year, the enrollment represents a 50% increase over the previous school year. In addition to the installation of an elevator at the Below Pierce site, which has never had an elevator, we will also be able to use the financing to build upon enhancements across all Friendship sites. This will enable us to provide experiences for students in safe, healthy, and joyful learning spaces that allow students to explore their talents and the world around them. We appreciate your consideration and review of this transaction. Thank you for your time and attention.
And thank you for your testimony. Are you going to be offering any testimony, Mr. Glenn, or?
No, sir. I'm just here to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. I appreciate your testimony, Mr. Waller. Pretty extensive. It has already answered some of the questions I intended to ask about the school. I think you did a great job of laying out Friendship Public Charter Schools mission, mandate, and why this bond is important to the school. I may have a couple other questions just related to the work that's going on some of your campuses. I don't know if you mentioned this in your testimony, but when you all, as some of this gets approved, when do you plan on closing on the financing for this? Is there a time-sensitive date?
Yes, it is. It's important that we close by the end of the year because the key part of the financing is to reimburse funds that we use, our own funds, to do the acquisition. So we would need to close by the end of the year so that we could reimburse those funds by 12/31.
Got it. Okay. And could you just lay out briefly, to the extent you all can do so now, the sense of the proposed renovation construction timelines for the projects?
Yes, we purchased the building in July of 2021 of this current school year. We did renovations that were possible in the 6 weeks prior to the start of school. Many of those things were exhaust systems, painting, some reconfiguration. But there's a lot of work that we can do beyond that time frame that we plan on doing over the next 6 to 7 months. So the funds available will allow us to do those renovations. In addition, we purchased furniture for the new acquired site that met the Friendship standards for furniture to make sure that it meets the quality that we wanted it to be. So funds will be used to reimburse for furnishing the building in addition to those projects that we have to complete the project.
Okay, and I should have gave you an opportunity to introduce yourself and say what your role is, Mr. Glenn. I typically ask witnesses who are testifying in support of bond issuances to let me know who they use as bond counsel. When Demphead comes up next, I'm gonna ask them the same thing. And so if you would want to introduce yourself and say what your role is today as a witness.
No problem. Thank you, council member. My name is Darren Glenn, and I'm a partner at Orrick, Harrington, and Sutcliffe in Washington, D.C. I am one of the bond counsels in D.C., but currently I'm serving as borrower's counsel to Friendship Public Charter School.
Got it. Excellent. Okay. That is good to know. I actually don't think I have any additional questions. You already explained the details about the funds and what they're associated with and how you all would use them if this measure is approved. You've got a great record of that you provided in your statement about Friendship Public Charter School. And so I don't have any additional questions. Is there anything else, either Mr. Glenn or Mr. Waller, you'd like to put on the record before I transition to the government witness?
Just thank you for this opportunity to testify before your committee. We're very excited about the progress that we can make in the future. We can make not only at the wards, not our schools, but improving quality at all of our schools throughout the district.
Okay, if the committee has any follow-up questions, we'll be sure to contact you all. But we do appreciate your testimony here this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, council member.
Next, we're going to hear from Gregory Johnson, who is a project manager in the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development with respect to their DC Revenue Bond Program.
Good morning, Chairman McDuffie and members of the Committee on Business and Economic Development. I am Gregory Johnson, the project manager with the DC Revenue Bond Enterprise Zone Program, a function within the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. I am testifying today to request on behalf of Friendship Public Charter School, Inc., which is the borrower, that the council approve the issuance of the District of Columbia revenue bonds to the borrower. The proposed revenue bond issuance will be in one or more series in an amount not to exceed $20 million. Friendship Public Charter School, Inc. has requested that the District of Columbia issue up to $20 million in revenue bonds in one or more series for the financing, refinancing, or reimbursing of costs associated with the authorized project of the borrower's various campuses located throughout the District of Columbia in wards 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The bonds, if issued, will be secured by a general obligation of the borrower and will be without recourse to the District of Columbia. Based upon the information that was set and forth in the application, the Revenue Bond Program staff has determined that the proposed project complies with the criteria for approval of the proposed financing transaction through the District of Columbia Revenue Bond Program. Additionally, the proposed project will promote education, enhance employment opportunities, and contribute to community betterment. This concludes my testimony, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
And thank you, Mr. Johnson, for your testimony. I do have some questions for you, brief as they may be. If you could, your understanding of this project, just lay out what your expectation is of this timeline for this project for the school. And then also timelines for the committee to be aware of in terms of advancing this if the committee decides to do so.
Yes, we just hope that the financing or the application be approved within the committee and meet the requirements of the financing timeline that the borrower has to make other obligations and close by the end of this year.
Okay. And in terms of the project, your understanding of the timelines for some of these projects, do you have insights into that?
I didn't understand your question, council member.
They want to be able to use this to do several projects associated with Friendship Public Schools. Just your insights into the viability of those projects. You have any insights you want to share with the committee with respect to how the funds will be used?
Yes, the Lamont School on Kansas Avenue is the bulk of the financing request. And also the elevator that's going to be put in the below school is going to be necessary to enhance, just the educational possibilities at the school itself. So yeah, we're in agreement with the project and the timeline. Right.
Okay, and this usually goes without saying, but I'm gonna ask it anyway, just so the record is clear. Mr. Waller, you understand that the city is not on the hook for repaying any of this debt?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay, and Mr. Johnson, you've explained that to the borrower in your interactions with them thus far?
Yes, the bonds are without recourse to the District of Columbia that as a revenue bond, the Friendship Public Charter School is directly on the hook as the borrower for the funds.
Okay, and Mr. Johnson, has your office determined that the borrower is a qualified applicant in accordance with Section 490 of the Home Rule Act?
Yes, we have.
Okay. Has your office also, Mr. Johnson, determined that these bonds will be used to finance a project that is authorized to receive financing through the district?
Yes, we have. Yes.
Okay. And is your evaluation of the package from the borrower that they are able to service the debt resulting from the proposed financing?
Yes, sir. Yes, we are. And I understand that Wide River Publication, Wide Rivers is the financial analyst for this bond application. Okay. For the borrower.
Got it. Okay. And I see that Friendship has Mr. Glenf and Oric as borrowers counsel. I always ask about who the borrower and the city use to make sure that there are opportunities for both small CBE, minority-owned, women-owned firms, but also if there are larger firms, who are the folks who are doing the work. And I'm glad to see that Mr. Glenf, in this case, is doing the work on behalf of the firm. He is really well established in this space and very experienced. And so, Mr. Johnson, who is DEMPED using as bond counsel on this project?
I'm sorry. Borrowers counsel, bond counsel for this project is Brian Miller Olive, which is bond counsel, serve as bond counsel in the District of Columbia.
Is he with the firm?
Brian Miller Olive, PA.
Is that the name of the firm?
Yes, Brian Miller Olive, right. And
is the firm is it a CBE firm?
No, it's not a CBE firm.
Okay. Do y'all have any updates on the progress? How many CBE firms do y'all have certified to do the work of borrowers counsel?
Currently, we have one, and that's Tiber Hudson.
All right. I thought we were making some headway on this. That nobody else is.
So council member, as we talked about, we're making headway with informing as many small and minority firms as possible. As a matter of fact, we have another seminar coming up on December 15th, which actually Tiber Hudson, which is a CBE firm, will be conducting that seminar. We have, for the current contracts that are in place, and I'll confirm with our contracting director, but I think we have at least 2 more years before we open the door once again to be able to receive RFPs to become part of our bond council. And so in the timeline, due to your leadership, we've been able to have these certain seminars and inform smaller firms, minority firms of the things that they need to have in place and what our OAG is going to require for them to have in place so that they can qualify to be bond counsel. So we are definitely working towards that end.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. And I don't have any further questions of Mr. Johnson or the Deputy Mayor's office at this time. Is there anything else that you'd like to add to the record before we shift to the next matter, Mr. Johnson?
No, sir, but thank you for holding this hearing on behalf of the borrower.
And thank you for your testimony. Thank you, Mr. Waller, Mr. Glenn.
Thank you.
While staff is shifting the witnesses, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the next matter that is before the committee, which is PR 24-445. The DC Preparatory Academy Revenue Bond Project Approval Resolution of 2021, which was introduced on October 25th, 2021 by Chairman Mendelson at the request of the mayor and referred to the committee on November 2nd, 2021. If approved, this measure would approve the issuance of up to $55 million in District of Columbia revenue bonds to help DC Preparatory Academy refund $5.5 million in revenue bonds from 2005, refund $9.5 million in revenue bonds from 2007, refinance the cost of improvements made to its Benning campuses, and acquire construction and equip its Anacostia Middle School campus located at 2330 Pomeroy Road Southeast, among other eligible expenses. DC Prep is a 19-year-old public charter school network of 6 schools in wards 5, 7, and 8. DC Prep serves over 2,100 students in pre-K 3 through 8th grade. Also, if I'm not mistaken, actually, let me skip that part. I'm gonna call our witnesses for this matter and just remind the witnesses to mute their microphones when they are not speaking. And we've got a couple witnesses for this matter. I think we already have been joined by, I've got Daniel Englander, who I see. I also see Jerry Levine. And good morning to you both. Before we get to Jasmine Brown and Dempier, we're going to start off with you. Which one of you gentlemen are testifying this morning on behalf of DC Prep?
Good morning. I will be testifying on behalf of DC Prep.
All right. You can begin your testimony. I'll be ready. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity to present today. My name is Dan Englander, the Chief Operating Officer and Chief Financial Officer of DC Preparatory Academy, with home offices located at 707 Edgewood Street Northeast. DC Prep operates several school sites in the district, including 2 owned properties on Edgewood Street Northeast, 1 leased property on 41st Street Northeast, known as the Benning campus, and a recently leased property on Pomeroy Road Southeast, known as the Wilkinson site. DC Prep also owns another property on V Street Southeast, known as the Anacostia Elementary campus, that is not being financed by this current bond issue. DC Prep is requesting that the District of Columbia approve the issuance of up to $55 million of tax-exempt revenue bonds. Eagle Bank has committed to purchase 100% of the issued bonds. The proceeds of this proposed issuance of DC revenue bonds will be used for the school's facilities in order to, first, refund the existing DC revenue bonds from 2005 and 2007 for the Edgewood facility. Second, refinance the Benning site upon an unwinding of the existing 2014 New Markets Tax Credits financing. Third, provide funds for the renovation and redevelopment and related costs of the Wilkinson facility. And finally, to pay for certain closing costs of issuance of the bonds to the extent permissible. DC Prep is a 19-year-old public charter school network of 6 schools serving students in wards 5, 7, and 8. DC Prep serves over 2,100 students in pre-K 3 through 8th grade. At the time of the last rating, all of DC Prep schools were rated Tier 1 by the Public Charter School Board. DC Prep prides itself on many things, including our commitment to our students. We make a 10-year commitment to our alumni as they go to and through college via our Prep Next program. DC Prep respectfully requests that the district support the issuance of up to $55 million in tax-exempt revenue bonds on the school's behalf. The bonds, of course, would not constitute a debt or liability of the district and would be repaid solely by the revenues received by the master trustee from DC Prep. We're grateful for the cooperation and responsiveness of the council staff and the staff of the Revenue Bond Office. And we look forward to working with you and them to complete this important revenue bond transaction for our school. Thank you for your consideration of our request, and I would be pleased to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you for your testimony, Mr. Englander. I do have a couple questions for you. that you did not already cover in your testimony. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go ahead and bring on Jasmine Brown is already here. I think most of my questions are going to pertain to DEMPED. If I have any questions, if you can just stand by, Mr. Engler, I'll make sure I ask them of you. Good morning, Jasmine Brown, and I appreciate you being here. You can begin your testimony whenever you're ready.
Good morning, Chairman McDuffie and members of the Committee on Business and Economic Development. I am Jasmine Brown, Project Manager, the DC Revenue Bond Enterprise Zone Program, a function within the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. I am testifying today to request on behalf of DC Preparatory Academy that the council approve the issuance of District of Columbia revenue bonds to the borrower. The proposed revenue bond issuance will be in one or more series in an amount of not to exceed $55 million. DC Preparatory Academy has requested that the District of Columbia issue up to $55 million in revenue bonds for the financing, refinancing, or reimbursing of costs associated with an authorized project of the borrower's various campuses located at 2230 Pomeroy Road Southeast and 141st Street Northeast. The bonds, if issued, will be secured by a general obligation of the borrower and will be without recourse to the District of Columbia. Based upon the information set forth in the application, the Revenue Bond Program staff has determined that the proposed project complies with criteria for approval of a proposed financing transaction through the District of Columbia Revenue Bond Program. Additionally, the proposed project will promote education, enhance employment opportunities, and contribute to community betterment. This concludes my testimony. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
And thank you for your testimony, Ms. Brown. Just a few questions similar to ones I asked earlier. Mr. Engler, just to be clear, you do understand that the District of Columbia is not liable for any of the debt associated with this bond issuance if it were to pass?
That's correct. We understand.
And Ms. Brown, you all did explain to the borrower who would be liable for the debt resulting from this proposed financing?
Yes.
And Ms. Brown, has your office determined that the borrower is a qualified applicant in accordance with Section 490 of the Home Rule Act?
Yes, yes.
And has your office also determined that these bonds will be used to finance a project that is authorized to receive financing through the District of Columbia?
Yes, yeah.
And have you determined that the borrower is able to service the debt resulting from the proposed financing?
Yes.
Okay, and Mr. Englander, who are you all using as borrower's counsel?
Borrower's counsel is Mr. Jerry Levine, who's also present.
Right, I'm representing DC Prep on this transaction, Councilman.
Okay, Mr. Levine, if you could state what, are you part of a firm, and if so, what firm?
I was formerly with the firm of Holland and Knight for several years. I'm now practicing on my own as the law office of Jerry Levine.
Got it, thank you.
I specialize in charter school financings and have done about 40 of them in the District of Columbia.
Okay, all right, very good, great experience. Where's your firm based, Mr. Levine?
In the district at my home
Okay.
office.
Awesome, glad to hear. Thank you. I do not have any additional questions of the witnesses here. Is there anything that, Ms. Brown, that you would like to add to the, oh, I should have asked you too. In this matter, who's borrower's counsel on this transaction? I'm sorry, bond counsel on this transaction, Ms. Brown?
Ballard Star.
Okay, who at Ballard is, are you all aware?
It's actually,
Sorry, it's actually, Orpington Executive is actually Darren Glenn.
Oh, on this transaction, Darren Glenn is the bond counsel?
Yes.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. All right, I don't have anything else. Ms. Brown, is there anything you'd like to add to the record that you haven't already provided to the committee?
No, not at this moment.
Mr. Englander or Mr. Levine?
Thank you
No,
very much.
thank you for your time.
Thank you for your
Okay.
time. We look forward to closing in December.
Okay, I appreciate you letting me know. I didn't ask the timeline question, but thank you for adding that to the record. And if there's any further questions or follow-up from the committee, we'll be sure to reach out. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move to the final measure on the committee's agenda this morning. It's proposed resolution 24-446, which was introduced on October 25th, 2021 by Chairman Mendelson at the request of the mayor and referred to the committee on November 2nd of this year. If approved, this measure would approve the issuance of up to $7.5 million in the District of Columbia revenue bonds to facilitate the purchase of the Huntwood Courts apartments at 5,000 Hunt Street Northeast and provision of 214 affordable rental units. The Washington Housing Conservancy, or WHC, is a nonprofit organization that acquires and owns real estate for the creation and preservation of affordable housing as part of a larger Washington Housing Initiative. The entity utilizes an impact pool or private investment vehicle to leverage project funding. The impact pool will underwrite the larger Huntwood Courts project. With that, I'm going to call our witnesses and just remind anyone who's on this panel to mute yourself when you are not speaking. And the witnesses for this panel are Kimberly Driggins,
Good morning.
Housing Conservancy, and we'll turn to someone else who's joined us as well. And I'll just ask later that you state your name and your role in today's hearing in this matter before the committee, and then we'll turn to our government witness after that. Again, good morning to you. Ms. Driggins, you can begin your testimony whenever you're ready.
Great, thank you. Good morning, Councilmember McDuffie and members of the committee. My name is Kimberly Driggins, and I am the Executive Director of the Washington Housing Conservancy, also known as WHC. I am here today with our counsel, Sean Glenn of Arent Fox. WHC is a District of Columbia not-for-profit corporation, and our mission is to preserve affordable housing in the greater Washington, D.C. area so that residents in our communities, particularly moderate to low income African Americans and other residents of color, can focus on building wealth instead of battling escalating rents. I am here today in connection with WHC's request that the District of Columbia approve the issuance of tax-exempt bonds in the amount of $6 million that will enable WHC through one of its affiliates to acquire and manage affordable housing property known as Huntwood Courts, located at 5,000 Hunt Street Northeast, Washington, D.C. WHC is governed by a group of volunteers, including a former D.C. council member, a former D.C. city administrator and deputy mayor, philanthropists, real estate experts, and civic leaders. WHC currently owns and operates 2 multifamily properties comprising of more than over 1,000 units of affordable housing. The first property acquired by WHC was in December of 2020 in partnership with Amazon in Crystal City, Virginia. The property is Crystal House, and it is comprised of 825 affordable units. And our second property, Hamilton Manor, is located in Hyattsville, Maryland, and that is 245 units. Huntwood Courts would be WHC's first affordable housing project in the district. Through its work, WHC offers more than a roof over a resident's head. The communities we create provide enriching and vibrant living experiences with amenities and services that allow our residents to create bright futures for themselves and their families. The proceeds of the bonds will be used to refinance a portion of the cost of the acquisition of Huntwood Courts and funding certain related capital and working capital expenditures associated with the operations and management of the asset and services and the services WHC provides. WHC respectfully requests that the district approve the issuance of the bonds on its behalf. The bonds, of course, would not constitute a debt or direct or indirect liability of the district and would be repaid solely from project revenues. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you for your testimony this morning, Ms. Driggins. I suspect, Mr. Glenn, you want to say who you are and your role in today's matter. I expect you're not providing testimony, just here to perhaps answer any questions that.
Good morning, council member. That's correct. I'm just here as a resource to answer any questions that may arise.
Okay. Thank you. And I'm going to turn next to Anthony Hedden, who's the project manager Revenue Bond Program in the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. You can begin your testimony. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman McDuffie and members of the Committee on Business and Economic Development. I am Anthony Hedden, Project Manager, DC Revenue Bond Enterprise Zone Program, a function within the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development. I am testifying today to request on the behalf of the Washington Housing Conservancy, Huntwood LLC, that the council approve the issuance of District of Columbia revenue bonds to WHC. The proposed revenue bond issuance would be in one or more series in amount not to exceed $7,500,000. The WHC has requested that the District of Columbia issue up to $7,500,000 in revenue bonds in one or more series for the financing, refinancing, or reimbursement costs associated with the borrower's authorized project located at 5000 Hunt Street Northeast, Washington, D.C., 20019, Ward 7. The bonds, if issued, will be secured by a general obligation of WHC and will be without recourse to the District of Columbia. After a recent meeting with our OAG team and Borrowers Council, we will be working with your staff to add some additional language to the resolution. Based upon information set forth in the application, the Revenue Bond Program has determined that the proposed project complies with criteria for approval of a proposed financing transaction through the District of Columbia Revenue Bond Program. Additionally, the proposed project will promote affordable housing, enhance employment opportunities, and contribute to community betterment. This concludes my testimony, and I am happy to answer any questions you may have.
And thank you for your testimony, Mr. Hedden. Just a few questions. Ms. Driggins, could you or Mr. Glenn just let the committee know if there's any sensitive timelines that we should be aware of as we contemplate this matter before the committee?
Council member, this is Sean. I'll take that one if that's okay, Kimberly. We would hope that the council could get to this approval in the first quarter of next year. The Conservancy has a contract to purchase, so that's driving our timeline.
Okay. And no problem if we actually did it sooner, that wouldn't be a problem. Just at the latest, though, first quarter next year. Correct.
Sooner would be very preferable. Obviously, would relieve pressure that we're getting from the seller.
Okay. I think I heard Ms. Driggins mention that you all understand that this would not be a constituted debt to the district. And I see you shaking your head affirmatively, and it was already in your statement. And I take it, Mr. Hedden, that you all explained that in this process to the borrowers.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you determined, Mr. Hedden, did your office determine that the borrower is a qualified applicant in accordance with Section 490 of the Home Rule Act?
Yes, sir.
And has your office determined that these bonds will be used to finance a project that is authorized to receive financing through the district?
Yes, sir.
And have you also determined that the borrower is able to service the debt resulting from the proposed financing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Ms. Driggins, who's borrower's counsel on this matter? Or WHC?
Aaron Fox, sorry. It's Aaron Fox.
Okay. And Mr. Glenn, are you with Aaron Fox?
Yes, council member.
Okay, got it. Perfect. All right. I saw my good friend John Bowker just last evening.
I'll pass along. And bond counsel is Olive Miller. Rhonda Bond Collins is the point of contact.
Got it. Thank you for that. And Mr. Haddon, who did DEMPED use as, oh, you already said bond counsel. Okay, got it. All right. And I don't think I have any more questions right now. If there's anything else that the committee needs to follow up, we'll be sure to do it. Mr. Haddon, is there anything else that you'd like to add on behalf of DEMPED?
No, sir. Thank you for having us today.
Ms. Driggins, Ms. Glenn, anything else that either of you would like to add to the record before we adjourn this hearing?
No, thank you very much for your time today.
Okay. I appreciate all the witnesses providing their time and testimony to the committee this morning. There being no further business before the committee, this marks the end of today's public roundtable. The time is now 9:53 a.m. and this roundtable is adjourned. Thank you all. Thank you, staff.
Thank you.